Some of the NBA's biggest players and owners who routinely exercise their freedom to criticize this country lose their voices when it comes to the freedom and rights of the people of China. In siding with the Chinese Communist Party and silencing free speech, the NBA is acting like a wholly owned subsidiary of that authoritarian regime.
Vice President Mike Pence weighing in on the NBA-China controversy, slamming the association for being too soft on the nation. Here to react is the author of Stealth War, How China Took Over While America's Elite Slept, retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Robert Spalding. So are we just waking up to this now? Why, General?
Well, I think the NBA really, it's such a famous organization, so everybody gets to see it out in the limelight. Of course, I was sitting back here in D.C. in 2017 dealing with all the think tanks, lobbyists, consultants, law firms, all the Wall Street firms, all the corporate America that were essentially doing exactly the same thing. So it's pervasive throughout our society. Not only that, Brian, get this, my military retirement fund is going to buy Chinese weapons next year because the Federal Thrift Savings Board has decided to invest $3.3 billion of my retirement fund into the Chinese military.
That is ridiculous. There's an awareness of it. Apple, Mercedes, Tiffany's, Marriott all have caved because of various protests from Red China. Why? When does this stop? Is this a turning point?
Well, we actually have to enact policies that force it to stop. Right now, all of these companies have a fiduciary responsibility actually to go over there and make money. The problem is they can't get it out. And so when they classify their assets that they hold in China as level 1 assets, they get bonuses and pay on the basis of that. It affects their stock price. So we have to actually change the accounting rules to not let them do that because the money is not coming out.
The vice president got under the skin of Charles Barkley, who's on his scoreboard show, heard the vice president and said this.
Vice President Pence needs to shut the hell up, number one. All American companies are doing business in China. I don't understand why these holier than thou politicians, if they so want to worry about China, why don't they stop all transactions with China?
Well, the president is trying to reconfigure the relationship.
Idea.
So you're all for this, General?
I'm absolutely all for it because it's not just economy that drives this nation. It's our values, it's our principles, it's our freedoms. If we're just going to sell our freedoms, then why do we need a military? If we're not going to defend ourselves because the Chinese are going to come in and buy it all, then we deserve what we get.
LeBron James feels differently. He says the general manager of the Rockets should educate himself before he supports Hong Kong protesters. Your reaction?
Well, I mean, look, the Hong Kong protesters know that they can be extradited to China and actually face, organ harvesting, all the things that happen in a totalitarian regime. They're fighting for their freedoms. They're no different, as I said before, than our freedom fighters, that fought for our independence.
Yeah, and Shaq is fully for the freedom of speech and backs the GM. I hope the NBA realizes they have a great product that can't be replicated, and they can starve the Chinese people out of something they want. And that's their game. And hopefully they'll make a stand and other companies will follow. I do like what the commissioner said. He's been pretty strong on free speech. Brigadier General Spalding, thanks so much, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
He was ahead of his time. Meanwhile, straight ahead,